Men.
Am I right? So we just watched Men.
The feel-good movie of the year.
Okay. Brandon, what do you think of this movie?
Well, it was a lot to take in.
Really, a lot happened in it.
Yeah, it was a lot. This is, if you're out with your friends and you're saying, yo, let's go see a movie tonight, we'll have fun, and you got the choice between Doctor Strange or Men, I'd probably pick Doctor Strange. That being said, I kind of loved it.
It was really good,
Yeah.
actually.
I thought this movie was pretty great. I really like this movie.
Alright, so we're pretty much just gonna completely spoil it.
Yeah, that you cannot. At least for us, you can't talk about this movie without spoiling it.
I think, yeah.
Think of this more as not really a review, but more like us trying to sort of decipher, just discuss how we felt, what the film represented, our interpretations of the movie. But first off, what did you think? Like, opinions wise?
The movie itself, I thought the tone of it was great. You know, I love the setting of just like out in the countryside. Like, it was like definitely like a place where it seems bleak, especially when you consider the situation of the main character.
Yeah.
Just trying to get away from everything, and I feel like that fit perfectly, especially with later on in the movie when their life just becomes way more oppressive when they try to get away from it all.
Yeah, I thought this film was very isolating, especially for the main character. I felt like she really felt like the only person on the planet. Like it really felt like there was no getting out of the situation for her. And I thought this movie looked beautiful. I thought
it was shot great. There are so many iconic shots I can remember.
Yeah, this movie was beautiful to look at. Absolutely. And I thought the main actress, Jessie Buckley, I've only seen her in one other movie, which was a lot like this, actually. It was called I'm Thinking of Ending Things. She was great in that, and she did amazing in this movie. She was amazing. No complaints with her performance. But, yeah, this movie, it's about a lot of things, but we both sort of saw it as a story about abuse.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty obvious, but there's a lot to it, you know what I mean?
I think, like, personally, like, the setting of, like, kind of where the character feels really isolated just kind of shows where she's trying to get away from everything in her life.
Yeah.
And I feel like every character that she gets to know, like, eventually kind of starts acting more antagonistic towards her. And I feel like that's kind of a representation of the way her partner acted towards her before committing suicide. So...
yeah. There's this great scene where she's talking to this priest character, and at first it's a pleasant conversation. She's telling her how the relationship made her feel so alone and isolated, and how when he killed himself, she was really torn up about it because she knows that she can't blame herself, but at the same time, you know, it's horrible. I mean, she saw him die, you know what I mean? She wonders, like, did he see me? And then at first you think the priest is on her side. He's like, yeah, it's a horrible situation. But then he says, well, what do you think you did that made him do it? And he says, obviously, like, he doesn't say it outright, but he's basically saying it's your fault. He killed himself because of you. And I think that's real. A lot of this movie, had a lot of metaphors for things that happen in the real world. Like, for example, in abusive relationships, oftentimes the abuse, like, people will try to justify the abuse by saying, oh, they're having a bad day, or oh, they had a rough childhood, you know what I mean? And they don't take into account that might be true, but that doesn't change the fact that the victim of the abusive relationship I can't even explain it, but you know what I mean, obviously.
And it kind of shows further, like, now it's not just with that interaction, like, not every character begins acting like differently towards her. Like, the only other female character in the movie, her friend, eventually starts acting antagonistic towards her after deciding that she doesn't want to be out in the countryside anymore. It's I guess showing of everyone's response to her running away from things, how they often disagree with that, how they'll often fight her about it.
Yeah. this was just my interpretation. Some people might not see it this way, but the one guy, he's on the poster of the movie, the guy who was trying to help her, who showed her around the house. There's a line in this movie where he's helping her, and he goes outside to see what's out there. It's near the end of the movie, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna go see what's out there. And he tells her, when I was younger, my dad told me that I wasn't strong, you know, I couldn't help anybody. It's time to prove him wrong. And it made me think, like, he's not helping her because he cares about her. He's helping her to make himself feel better about himself. And that's something that a lot of people do. They don't help others out of the kindness of their hearts. They help others to feel better about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this man was doing. You know, I guess in sort of like a white knight kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
This movie, it's called Men, and it really goes into how society is willing to make a lot of excuses and justifications for men that do horrible things. You know what I mean? It's like I said earlier. You're like, oh, he was having a bad day, or
Yeah, like how they kind of try to justify it even though it's still not right.
Yeah. What did you think of the ending of this movie?
The ending, I'm still trying to think, like, what did it really mean? Like, after everything had happened, like, the house is a mess, everything, their friend arrives, and the main character, she's just there smiling, and then the movie ends. And I'm still trying to think, like, what does that really mean?
It could mean a lot of things. It could mean that she killed him and now she's finally free.
Yeah.
Maybe he was never real, and that it was a metaphorical battle in her mind.
Exactly. That could be, like, it was kind of like her fighting her inner demons. That could have been what the entire thing in the countryside could have been.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe everything that happened to her, well, I was going to say maybe everything that happened to her was in her head, but again, that might be just us trying to, like,
Understand.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the part at the end, you can definitely make an argument for that because of the part at the end where, like, the cycle of just giving birth and then dying afterwards.
Yeah.
It kind of, like, especially because of, like, the priest, like, the way he was treating her, it kind of, like, showed, like, the way society treats a lot of women wrong. So I feel like it was kind of showing that and showing, like, the cycle that women can fall into.
Yeah, really anybody can fall into. Men
Yeah.
can fall. I mean, look at what's happening with, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's some. This movie isn't really that gory, but in the last 20 minutes, it just goes.
It goes insane.
It goes hard. This movie, like, the whole movie's pretty weird, but in the last 20 minutes, it just dials it up to like
Some of
100.
it is like spine chilling. Like when
Yeah.
the guy puts his hand through the mail thing, and then
She stabs it,
he stabs it, and he just pulls it all the way back, cutting it completely open.
and it's slow. It's a
and it
slow
was
scene.
really slow. And then later he wraps it around her like
Oh yeah,
like two parts. It
it's
was
just like you know what I mean?
exactly just really disgusting to see, and it had a lot of that near the end. But
Yeah.
it was done really, really well. It was really disturbing.
Yeah. This movie's not for everybody.
Definitely not.
Not for everybody. If I can see some people watching this movie and being like, "This is bullshit. This movie
Yeah.
sucked. What was the point of that movie or whatever?" Actually, I looked it up on CinemaScore, which is like a website that's not really for critics, just like average moviegoers. This movie has a D+,
Huh.
which is, I mean, this is a movie made for. I don't want to sound like we're pretentious film snobs or whatever, but this is a movie made for us. It's not made for the average moviegoer.
I get what you mean.
Yeah, it's not made for someone who's like, let's go see a horror movie, guys.
Yeah, like you kind of have to like look into this a little more.
Yeah, I want to watch this again
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like watching it again, you're gonna get like a completely different movie. Man, there's a lot to unpack about this movie. It's about abuse. It's about how society treats women versus how they treat men. It's just there's so much in this movie that you could just talk for days over, honestly. And I'm really excited to watch some other videos, their interpretations of the movie. But yeah, I love this movie. I thought it was.
I did think it was great.
Yeah, I don't really have that many complaints about it. I didn't. There's really no. I don't want to give this a 10 because I don't like giving movies a 10 until I've seen them twice. But I'd probably give this movie like a 9, like an A.
I'd say like for me it's like an 8. I thought it was really great.
Yeah.
If I rewatch it, it could bump up. Who knows?
Yeah, this is an A24 movie, so if you like those, I'd see this.
Mm-hmm.
Men, am I right? Final thoughts, Alex?
I guess it's really a movie that you have to think about for a long time. Like
Yeah.
a movie that you have to watch more than once.
Yeah.
I feel like for anyone watching this video who's already seen the movie, I feel like you should probably see it again because I feel like that's what I want to do to get a better idea of all the themes and what's going on in it.
I want to watch this movie again for sure. It's trying to think any scenes we missed. A lot of penis in this movie.
Yeah, the naked man that was stalking the women. That was
Yeah.
I don't know what to like make of that really.
Well, the makeup was amazing when he turned into
It
like a
was.
tree at the end. You're like, oh my god,
Yeah,
he
that
looks
was
amazing,
great.
and it doesn't look like there might have been, but it doesn't look like there was any CGI.
No, I
so
don't
it looks
think so.
it looks great. And we already said this, but the movie is absolutely beautiful to look at too. It's just that
Yeah.
like there's a scene where she's walking through the forest, and in any other movie it'd be boring, but it's just so beautiful
Yeah.
that you're like, I could spend the rest of the movie just walking in the forest
It's like
with this woman.
there's
I'd
like
be
a
okay.
shot where it like focuses on the pollen, like where like she slowly walks up to the camera, and then when she like finally makes it there, it like focuses on her, and
Yeah.
that's a really good shot.
And as a horror movie, this movie
Yeah.
also works because it's pretty damn intense.
It's really disturbing.
Yeah, like there are scenes near the end of the movie where intruders are coming into her house and she just has to deal with that. And I was genuinely like, oh shit. Like,
Yeah, no.
you know what I mean? This is, man. I've seen 3 A24 movies this year, and this is my favorite. I like this more than X. I like this more than Everything Everywhere All at Once. Although they're different movies, you can't really
Yeah.
compare them. But yeah, not really much else to say. If you're into movies like this, go see it. If you're not, stay away. Go see Family Camp or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This isn't really one of our funnier
Yeah,
reviews.
no, because it's like
It's
not
kinda
really-
hard to
It's not
make-
really a funny movie. It's like
No. Although there was one scene, on second watch, I don't think it'd be funny at all. But on first watch,
yeah.
the scene where the naked man like first shows up and like she's showing the tour around her house.
That was like I thought that was a little.
I think
funny.
that was actually meant to be kind of like darkly humorous,
Yeah.
but intense at the same
But then
time.
it's like at first like the naked man he's just standing out there. It's a little funny, but then like the further it goes into the movie, it just becomes disturbing.
Yeah. There's also another scene where she's at the bar and the cop's like, we let the guy go, and she's like, what? Why? He was trying to break into my house and he was stalking me, and he's like, I mean, there's really nothing to charge him for. He's just kind of weird, and it's like again,
Yeah, it's kind of like how society treats men. Where
Yeah,
they
men
kind
get
of
off-
just let him off.
Yeah. I mean, it's just reality. Men have it a lot easier than women in terms of stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it just makes you feel so bad for the main character. But yeah, loved this movie. Thought it was great. Best horror movie I've seen this year so far, for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Although I feel like I don't even want to call it a horror movie. It's more like because horror movies these days are just like shit. So,
Yeah,
yeah. Anyways, yeah.
it's a weird movie, but it's good.
Go see it with the whole family.